I was born in Stroud in 1976. Grew up in a small village called Avening, right out in the countryside, just next door to Princess Anne's estate at Gatcombe Park. Our family didn't really have a great deal of money. You know, my dad was a gardener. All the kids on the council estate viewed my family as hippie type family, which I suppose they were to some extent. My dad had a big beard, used to smoke some pot, you know, usual sort of stuff that hippies do. I was probably getting stoned from the day I was born, you know, passive smoke. I remember as a really young kid, before my sister was born at the age of 4, being taken into rooms where there was loads of smoke or having to stay out of that room because the adults were doing something in there that I wasn't supposed to see. I was at a party and I remember the day, I can still remember it now quite clearly. I was fed a piece of hash cake, chocolate cake. Unbeknownst to my mum, she didn't realise what it was. Well, what it had in it, she just thought it was a chocolate cake because it was someone's birthday, one of my dad's friends. So they've handed me this piece of chocolate cake and yeah, I got pretty damn stoned for a 4-year-old, you can imagine. I mean, later on in my life, when my parents went their separate ways at about the age of 10, my mum actually got together with the guy whose birthday party it was where I got fed the hash cake. And the 2 older stepbrothers that my mum's new partner had were both into the illegal rave scene. The eldest, he was an up-and-coming local DJ, so he would have been, 18, 19? So prime age for going out raving, doing parties and all the rest of it, you know, all the associated drugs that go with it. And the first one I ever went to was at about the age of 13 or 14 in Stroud, in an old Great Mills warehouse. And I quickly realised that it was very easy to deal drugs in these parties, particularly the ones organised by my stepbrothers and like the local heavy crew, should we say. My stepbrothers, if I ever needed anything, I could always pick up the phone and ring them and say, look, do you know anyone or can you source it and sell it to me? So, you know, they'd always be able to either put me in touch with someone or they'd have it themselves. And that went for weed, pills, ecstasy, MDMA, powder, crystal. I'd load up with maybe 500 to 1,000 pills every week, maybe 1,000 LSD trips or 2, maybe a kilo or 2 of hash.
How much was it costing you?
Kilo of hash at that time was about $1,000, 800 to £1,000 roughly. Pills, I mean, they were selling for like anywhere from 10 to 15 in the raves, £10 normally. We'd normally get them for like 3 or 4, maybe £5, depending on the quality.
You're doing all this through your education.
Yeah.
How did it affect your school?
The sixth form college started to get wind of me dealing. And the police, I think from Cirencester, launched an investigation into me. There's a knock at the door, 8:30 in the morning. You know, you're out in the village. This is unusual. I've got 2.5 ounces of hash on me, cut up into deals, ready to go to college. So I put it down my boxer shorts, open the door, and sure enough, there's a plainclothes police officer there. They arrest me, get taken to Stroud Police Station, and, you know, obviously I'm like pretty shocked and surprised and worried about what's going to happen, the consequences, and how this is going to affect my schooling, my A-levels, you know, what's my dad going to say, what's my mum going to say. Ended up going before a magistrate, Stroud magistrates, and getting sentenced to, I think it was 6 or 12 months probation.
What did your school think about it all?
So obviously they kicked me out, and they said, look, we know you're fairly gifted academically, we'll cut you a bit of slack, we'll let you sit your exams, but you cannot come into the college. Stop drug dealing, stop going to raves, got my head down. That got me 4 offers. So I had, as well as 4 A-levels, got 4 offers from uni. So I went to university with the full intention of studying archaeology, as it happened. My dad drops me down to Cardiff into the halls of residence. There were a lot of students running around those halls of residence looking for drugs. They couldn't find them. And there's me going, well, actually, I can get everything that you possibly want.
What drove that decision, though? You'd been...
Well, dealing drugs is almost more addictive than taking them themselves, can be, because you get addicted to that adrenaline, the excitement of it, the challenge, the outwitting the system, getting around the police. You know, it's a lot of mental chess against the system. The financial element comes into it heavily as well. And, you know, for anyone that's ever tried to survive on a student loan without any financial assistance from your family, it's pretty tough. I was like, well, I can flip the student loan, double it, and live a bit easier. That was the idea.
How much easier were you living? How much were you making?
Well, I was making enough to own a car, drive it all over the country, picking up and selling trucks. So, and then, you know, move into a house in Bristol on the other side of the River Severn, so not bad. This was the first point at which I became involved with cocaine. There was one particular student from Southampton area. They wanted cocaine and they wanted good cocaine. So, as ever, if I'm looking for something that I don't know where to find it, I phoned my stepbrothers, one of them, and said, look, can you hook me up with a coke dealer back in Stroud? And they said, yep, sure, no problem. Here's his, well, we'll ring him, make sure it's okay, and then we'll give you the number if it is, which they did, you know, within minutes probably. And I said, look, there's a big market down here that I can see. Students, money, cocaine, it looks like there's going to be a big market down here and, you know, there's going to be a big demand. He was like, cool, I can supply whatever you need, up to kilos, multiple kilos if necessary. I was like, right, no worries. And, you know, as with everything else, the amounts very quickly started escalating, getting a lot bigger, to the point at which the guy in Stroud said, look, I'm getting worried about this. It's just too much for me. What I'll do is I'll introduce you to my contact